My foster twins only ate food I dropped on the floor by accident. What they told the therapist got 6 people arrested. The first time I noticed the pattern was during breakfast on their 3rd morning in my house. I'd placed scrambled eggs and toast on plates in front of Ivy and Owen, both 7 years old, identical except for the surgical scar running down Owen's chest from a heart defect repaired in infancy. They sat motionless at the kitchen table, hands in their laps, staring at the food like it might explode. I encouraged them to eat, demonstrating with my own fork, explaining they didn't need permission. They didn't move. Not a twitch, not a glance at each other, just absolute frozen stillness that made my skin crawl. I'd been a therapeutic foster parent for 6 years, certified for the cases other families wouldn't take, but this level of food fear was new. I tried patience, then gentle coaxing, then simple statements that food was safe and they could eat whenever hungry. Nothing. The eggs went cold. The toast got hard. They sat like statues until I finally cleared the plates 40 minutes later, my stomach twisting with concern about what kind of conditioning created this response. Lunch was sandwiches, carefully cut into quarters, served with apple slices and cheese cubes. Same result. They stared at the food with expressions I couldn't read, something between longing and terror, but neither child touched anything despite obvious hunger. Their intake paperwork from Child Protective Services noted failure to thrive in their previous placement, which was putting it mildly. Ivy weighed 38 pounds and Owen weighed 35, both significantly underweight for 7-year-olds. Their caseworker, an exhausted woman named Trisha Okafor, had mentioned behavioral issues around mealtimes, but provided no useful details about what that actually meant. I made mental notes to call her after the kids went to bed, assuming there were protocols or triggers I needed to understand. Dinner approached and I decided to try something different. Setting the table but staying in the room, maintaining a calm presence without pressure. They sat. They stared. They didn't eat. My husband Graham came home from his shift at the fire station, took one look at the situation, and immediately understood this wasn't typical foster kid adjustment. That night, after we'd finally given up and sent them to their shared bedroom, Graham and I sat at the kitchen table trying to make sense of children who refused to eat from plates. He suggested medical issues, maybe sensory problems or previous food poisoning that created associations. I wondered about religious rules or cultural practices we didn't understand, though their file mentioned nothing relevant. We'd fostered 11 kids over 6 years, dealt with attachment disorders and trauma responses and developmental delays, but never encountered children who simply wouldn't eat presented food under any circumstances. Graham pulled up articles about selective eating disorders while I reviewed their placement history again, looking for clues in the sparse documentation. Born to a mother with untreated schizophrenia who'd lost custody when they were 18 months old, placed with maternal aunt for 3 years until she died suddenly of an aneurysm. Emergency placement with paternal grandparents for 6 months before grandfather's stroke left grandmother unable to care for 2 young children alone. Then a series of short-term foster homes, none lasting more than 8 weeks, each reporting escalating behavioral problems without specific details. The breakthrough happened accidentally on their 4th morning. I was making oatmeal, distracted by Graham's phone call